I think like this is the place to make it happen. I love cities. I have been to so many different places, like travel, and I've never felt connected anywhere more than like cities, because that's where like the people and the happening is.
For sure. Where you can make it happen. The place where you can make it happen. I love that. We're good? You all ready? You good? Ready? Good. All right, ready? All right. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Conversation Piece, your place to discover the untold stories of Indianapolis. My name is Patrick Armstrong. I am your host, and this is The Open Door, a monthly series where we literally open the studio door and then sit down with community members of the city to talk about whatever is on their hearts right now. If you want to learn more or you're interested in participating, head to conversationpiecepod.com and click on The Open Door. Last but not least, shout out to Life in Indy and the team over there for sponsoring this series. Now, let's get into it. My guest today is Doan. Hang, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Did I just mispronounce your name?
Hang. There we go. It just takes a bit of muscle memory. You're all good.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I apologize. I suck. Is where I'm going to start this conversation. Hang, for folks who are watching or listening right now, actually, first off, thanks for joining me.
Yeah,
thanks for making the time to do this. For folks who are watching or listening right now who may not know who you are, do you mind sharing just a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, I'm currently a film student at IUPUI. I'm 19 and I will be graduating this May, so super exciting.
Congratulations.
I'm very passionate about working with local businesses and restaurants as a content creator, but there's also a lot of different passions that I have too, like art, dance, everything. And that's why like YouTube and film and performing is such a great outlet for that.
Absolutely. Blowing up on YouTube right now, as I've been watching, I think from the sidelines. I love to see it. In the form that you filled out, you listed just a few different things. And I know you cover and talk about a lot of different stuff and you're passionate about a lot of different stuff. So I want to ask, what do you want to talk about today?
I think today I kind of want to focus on film because that's what's more relevant to my life right now.
For sure.
And I think the trans community, because this political time.
100%.
Yeah.
So we can start wherever you want. I'm also interested in thinking about how you utilize filmmaking and storytelling to dive into and broaden the narratives around trans storylines or the trans community specifically, especially not just in our country, but in a state that seems to be actively moving against said community.
Yeah, it's really difficult and really scary. So for context, I'm gender fluid. For other gender fluid people, that might mean a lot of different things, but it just means that I experience the full male and female spectrum of presentation. So some days I might feel like I want people to see me as a boy, and some days I want people to see me as a girl, or like in between and everything. I've always felt connected to like all sides of the gender spectrum. So yeah, but transness is very hard to explain to people, let alone fluidity or anything that exists in between that. And I get it because different generations and everything is changing. For me, I haven't really had the chance to show that on social media as much until now, other than just like being online and existing. I don't make a lot of videos explaining these kind of things. I just exist online and I try to make it like a casual thing, if that makes sense. So
because it's just a part of your life.
Me.
It's not like a specific or special thing. It's just you.
Yeah. Like I know one of the big things in you is like you're Korean adoptee and you don't talk about it in every single thing you do, but it's present in everything you do, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
That's
and
how I
think like I have talked about it quite a bit because for a long time, like I didn't even know that was something I needed to be talking about and unpacking. And I think for people who either come from or hold historically marginalized identities or come from historically marginalized communities, we've not been allowed or empowered to use our voices in that way and talk about our stories that way.
Yeah.
And I think what I like is finding, I won't call it a happy medium, but finding some semblance of I can speak openly and plainly without feeling ashamed that I've either marginalized my own story or that it will be marginalized in the future.
Yeah. And I think there's a power in existing just casually.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of different forms of advocacy. There's out and loud protesting, and then there's just existing, where I notice like if I just treat it like a normal thing, it causes people to have to reevaluate if they're like, some of my friends were kind of shocked the first time they saw me in the men's restroom. And then I could see on their face, they're kind of processing it.
Sure.
And then they're like, what are you doing in here? And I'm like, well, like I feel male today. So like, and then it's just casual like that. It is chill. And then we just use the restroom, do our business and leave. It's nothing deep like that. It's nothing deep like that. Yeah.
Have you had to ever like get deep because into that conversation with a friend or somebody just because it felt like they weren't getting it and you felt like you wanted to step into that gap? Or is that, do you try to keep it as casual as possible just because for maybe your own safety or whatever the case might be? For sure. Yeah. It's however much people want to ask. It's like if you ask, I'll open up that conversation. And I'm a very open person. And it's been a few years of me being out. So I'm very comfortable to answer any questions or dive into any arguments. And just, it's like you stay calm and you stay rational. Sure.
And you can talk to anybody about this sort of thing. Or, you know, if they don't ask, I'm like, they might have grown up with a different childhood experience than me, in a different family than me, you know? So they'll come to those arguments or things and thoughts on their own time. That's not my job to. It's like anything that you advocate in, it's not your job.
Right. Not your job.
Yeah, it's not your job to teach them, but you can open the door for that.
Absolutely. Was there a moment that you felt like you felt your mindset shift in how you wanted to approach and speak and live unapologetically as yourself that was different than before? Or have you felt like you've always navigated the world in this way?
I have changed so much. I grew up in a Catholic conservative home, and I grew up with the mindset like gay people are weird and wrong. And then I started getting gay friends in school and stuff. And I was like, well, they're great people, but I just don't agree with who you are as a person. That's what I started telling them.
Okay.
And then it's just the pipeline of like, why are queer people gravitating towards me, or why are we gravitating towards each other?
Sure.
Everyone in my friend group starts coming out as something. I think queer people always find each other in that way. And it's, now the whole friend group is like something.
For sure. I mean, once we start to tap it, you're right. I think it's just like we're naturally drawn to people who share an identity. And share themes of lived experience, I think. And especially, again, for coming from historically marginalized communities or identities, like we crave it because we've lived it, even though people have told us that we can't live that way. And that's what I think is so interesting about legislation or even rhetoric that's coming out right now, because it's like we want to wipe the slate clean of anybody who is not straight, male, white, or Christian here in this country. And yet, even if you do all those things, which is extremely harmful and extremely devastating to all those communities, we will all still exist and we will continue to exist beyond the erasure. And so like just trying to wipe the slate clean doesn't get rid of the people, because they're people and like they're just going to continue to be people. So unless you want to just get rid of all people and we're just a planet of animals, like literal, like bring back the dinosaurs. We can do it that way.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sometimes I get on my high horse and I just start getting off on it. But
it's something you're passionate about.
100%. So what I want, so you talk about like you just exist as yourself as a gender fluid trans person in your online persona. You're also a filmmaker. And I know that I think those two things, like as your creator self and your filmmaking self, it, to me, at least from my perspective, slightly separate. And I'm wondering, as you come towards graduation from film school and like get ready to create, are you interested in telling those types of stories through your filmmaking? Or is that something that you just want to exist in as? And I think there are now becoming more trans and gender fluid creators and people from the LGBTQI plus community who are starting to tell those stories. But is that something you're interested in doing in your films?
Absolutely. I feel so many emotions at once right now. Yesterday, I just ordered my cap and gown and I was like, oh, it's happening.
It's real.
It's real. It's time to go. Give me a second. I'm just processing. There is a lot of pressure and things I think about at once right now.
Yeah.
Because I want people to understand my transness, but at the same time, I don't want it to change how they think of me or affect how they treat me. And so I feel a pressure to be near exceptional in everything I do. Is that narcissistic? I don't know, but I want to be the top of everything. Like I reach for every scholarship I can. I reach for every accolade I can. In my classes, like everything has to be good because I talk about this with other like trans and marginalized people. But if you're in a community where there's a lot of criticism towards your community and a lot of hate speech going on right now and a lot of casual hate too.
Right.
If there's something about me that's weak, that's like a point for people to get me. And that's where I feel like I have to be the best at everything. Even though I'm learning, there's so many mistakes I'm making. I'm also still 19. And so I have to remember that sometimes where I'm like, where's my 6-figure job and where is my success and where is my things right now? And then I'm like, slow down. Like, I know 19's not a kid because I'm not a minor anymore, but I went through school so fast that I still want to be able to breathe and experience like all the childhood things and like go out with my friends and have fun and like
for sure
all those things. And I'm balancing that with like trying to advocate and create what I want to make. And I find ways to like bridge that and bring those together. But it's so much to think about at once. Yeah.
It's a lot to think about. And I would say at 19, you are, like you said, you're not a kid, but you are still kind of a kid. There's a lot of experience in life to experience still. Mm-hmm. And on top of needing to be the best, which I think is maybe slightly narcissism, but I think a lot of it is more this pressure that we have from narratives that are not our own. So the model minority myth for sure, I think plays into part of that, even if it's not a conscious thing, like just the idea that Asians have to be at a specific level of excellence and then do it quietly and get there. I think that's playing into it. I think we live in a city that is like, you can kind of do anything because we're not a Chicago or New York or LA. So like the pressure feels on to really just move. And we're in a news cycle right now, particularly because of this new administration that is going so fast that it feels like we have to stay ahead. And because you specifically hold identities are from communities that are in clear and present danger, like reaching a level of perfection or striving to be as perfect as you can be to navigate the world is part of protecting yourself from the attacks that exist outside. Yeah. Again, nothing from your own doing. You're just trying to be, and it's the world that tries to make us not be. And so I wanted to affirm you and all the stuff that you're doing. I also want to encourage you to keep doing that kid stuff. Keep doing the young adult stuff, like live your life. Mm-hmm. Because I think one of the things I really love about the work that you do is, and the things that you're creating is like, you can feel you living life in the content that you create. And I think it's really easy for people to lose that as we get older and we enter more into adulthood, and adulthood sucks. We just paid our electric bill. No. It was real high.
Don't say that when people say that.
I think like what you're doing right now in the space that you're existing in and the way that you go about advocating also for the people in your community and the communities that you come from, I think is really admirable and commendable. And I think the world right now is working really hard to make folks like yourself not do that work. And I think the fact that you continue to show up is awesome.
Yeah.
What does Indianapolis mean to you, or how do you define Indianapolis?
I think right now it's the place where there's so many different people. Like IUPUI, or currently IU Indianapolis, is such a diverse school because it's inner city and you have people coming from everywhere. So I went to community college too before I transferred here. So I would have classmates that were my age, and then I would have classmates that were like 40, divorced, 3 kids. And we are at this school for like very different things, and we're helping each other on our homework. It's a very strange experience, but it's a very cool experience that teaches me a lot. And the city, to me, I think it's the place where if we want to make change happen, it's going to be here. Yeah. Especially in such a deep red state. We bring together like so many people of different experiences and perspectives. I think like this is the place to make it happen. I love cities. I have been to so many different places, like travel, and I've never felt connected anywhere more than like cities, because that's where like the people and the happening is.
For sure. Where you can make it happen. The place where you can make it happen. I love that. I've got a few more questions before we wrap it up. And again, I just want to thank you for taking the time to come in and share. And it's particularly because I feel like, this is just me. apologizing on the show for not having a more diverse set of guests on the show. And I appreciate you coming on because I think you touch on a lot and you come with a lot of different identities and from communities that we need to be amplifying more. And so I want to ask you, you've kind of touched on it a little bit from your own experience, but if you have even maybe just slightly deeper perspective on the biggest misconception about just the trans community in general and or maybe specifically gender fluid trans people like yourself.
Yeah. Biggest conception about the trans community is that we owe you passing and we don't.
Ooh.
And that's something, when I started coming out as gender fluid, I was like, okay, if I want people to see me as male, I've got to be super tough. I can't wear like any cute colors or jewelry. I had a strawberry backpack at the time, and I was talking to one of my cis guy friends. I was like, I need to switch this out because it's not helping me pass any. And he's like, well, if you like strawberries, like, what's the problem?
Right.
Like, does it change when you're male or something? It's like the things I love are still in there.
Yeah.
Or there's I could go into this for like an hour, and that's a conversation for another day. But we already have people that were born male, born female, that dress super tomboyish or dress super girly. And like, there's so many different ways that people present, and it's like, does it matter? Honestly, does it matter? Because there's so many more important things in life that, like, just asking to people to understand you and just, it's so normal to me, but
for sure,
for other people, it becomes such a big deal. And it's like, we're here to live life and like enjoy everything that there is. Like, build a career, find people you love, do things that you dream about. Why are you focused on somebody's gender and how they present? Nobody owes you to look this way. And so it's like, if I saw myself as 16 coming out for the first time, like, I was even scared to compliment other girls when I was presenting male because I was like, is that gay? I am gay. Like, is that weird? Does that make me less manly because now I'm acting girly or something like that?
Sure.
It's not going to help me pass, and then people won't respect me or treat me the way I want to be treated, and I'm going to feel trapped in my body again. I don't owe people that. I'm still the same person.
Yep.
If you put me in either body, I'm going to be comfortable in the same person. I'm still me. So if you're trans, you don't owe anybody that. If you don't have the money or the family safety right now to transition, or there are things stopping you from transitioning, it's okay. Like, just because you can't afford or are able to safely transition to where you want to be right now, you're still you inside, even if that's not showing outside. You're always going to be you in there. So that's what I think.
I had one more question I was going to ask you, but you already answered it. I said, well, I was going to ask you, what do you want to say to anybody from the trans community or anybody going through it right now? And I think you just said it. So thank you for that. Hang, I appreciate you coming in and having this conversation. Just said it with the other guests, but like, you're already slotted in for a longer episode. I appreciate us getting in for this 15 minutes, but we have a lot more to talk about. So we're going to have you back at some point and we'll make that happen. But last but not least, as we get ready to leave here, how do we follow you? How do we find you? How do we best support you moving forward?
Yes, sir. I am on YouTube, Instagram, every online platform. I make short videos. If you think Indiana is boring and there's nothing to do, nothing to see, take a little scroll, come check out my other videos, check out other Indianapolis creators. They've helped me grow and they're awesome. And yeah, stay tuned for upcoming projects.
Stay tuned. You got that on lock. You've been rehearsing that one, I think. I like it. Doan. I'm going to get names pronunciation correct. They are an amazing person. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for everything you shared. You've schooled a lot of people, including myself. And again, I'm excited to have this longer conversation.
Thank you so much.
100%. Yes. Everybody else, make sure you check out their work. We'll have everything listed here in the show notes so you can go follow on YouTube, follow on all the social medias. Make sure you do that. Everything Conversation Piece related, conversationpiecePod.com. Shout out to Life in Indy and the team over there for sponsoring this series. And until next time, I've been Patrick Armstrong. This has been my scratchy throat, and this has been The Open Door. We'll see y'all soon.